AskReddit by SecondFiddle00. What's an actual victimless crime? Owning 7 dildos in Texas. I would pay to see the deliberation that led to the decision that owning 6 dildos is fine, but 7 is a crime. 7 is a number of God. Satan's is 6. If Satan had picked a higher number, we could have more dongs. Sleeping in your car when you are too drunk and can't drive. Many years ago there was a big to-do in Maryland because cops kept hassling truckers to move on when they had pulled over to catch some sleep. Tons of blue laws. Basically antiquated laws on the books that have to do with religion, mostly on Sundays. In my state you can't buy alcohol on Sunday before noon. And car dealers are not allowed to be open on Sunday. Basically they are designed to not compete with church attending times like early morning. My biggest problem with those laws is that the majority of people don't go to church anymore. Sunday has just become another weekend day. The prohibition of liquor sales on Sunday is ridiculous cause of that. And also the whole separation of church and state thing. Downloading very old games that are no longer available for sale. The Sims and The Sims 2 are a great example of this. I'd pay money for them if they'd actually still sell them, but we have to resort to other means to get them. Emulating and or pirating a game that is no longer available by any means. A new report says 87% of games released before 2010 are no longer commercially available, and it's a huge loss. https://www.google.com/amp/s/amp.thegguardian.com/games/2023/jull/1-2/pushing-buttons-playing-old-games. Putting coins in someone else's parking meter. I don't understand why this would become illegal in the first place other than to just jack up fines. Which tells me some crooked AF people made this a law. Jaywalking when there are no cars on the road. In the state of Colorado they took jaywalking off as a criminal offense. Now you can't get arrested unless you cause an accident or impede traffic in such a way that it ruins daily traffic. Also they hand you a pamphlet about the risks of jaywalking. Edit. OMG, my most upvoted comment. Downloading a car. You wouldn't. Many things if they're simply not witnessed. Taking off your pants in the park at night is absolutely a crime, actually 2 separate crimes, but if nobody is there to see it, no harm has been done, and there is nobody to be bothered that you trespassed after sundown. Even just going to a park or whatever that's closed after, say, 10 PM. I totally get that there's a reason for that, but if I'm just going to stargaze, it's still a crime. Eating food out of someone's garbage. Linus has entered the chat. Lots of places have sodomy laws. So for example, it's a crime for 2 consenting married adults to have oral sex in the privacy of their own home. Also illegal to buy a dildo. Edit. Not specifically talking about the US, although some states in the US still have some laws but aren't really enforced. My town actually has some anti-pagan laws, so you can't have specific types of gatherings on certain nights of the year. But how would they even know? 18 states still have statutes banning oral. Unenforceable following a RSC ruling, but still on the books. Dumpster diving. What should be illegal is destroying perfectly good food and consumer goods simply because they are out of season and people won't spend ridiculous amounts of money to buy them. And instead of giving them out for free or at really discounted prices or donating to shelters and those in needs, giant corporations decide to destroy goods and make it illegal for people to look through their dumpsters and repurpose those items. I will say, there is a place in my city called the Grocery Spot that runs on donations from places like the Fresh Market and Whole Foods and the like to bring good, nutritious food to those in need. All of it is given away for free to anyone who needs it, even if you don't directly live in the community they serve. Really good, high quality stuff too. Organic eggs, real meat and poultry, fresh produce and fruits, milk, bread, etc. I find that to be so much better than throwing away food because it's past sell-by date when so many people would gladly take it home to eat. Sorry, rant over. I see jaywalking on this quite a bit, but I will say when I lived overseas, jaywalking even at 2 AM on an empty street just didn't happen. When I asked a local German why he wouldn't cross against a no walking sign, he said, what if a kid looked out the window and saw me? I don't want to set a bad example. Depends on the country. Germany is at one end. The US is kinda closer to Germany on the scale. France, Spain, Italy, Greece, yay, they are crossing without even looking. Picking up a bird feather found on the ground and keeping it. It's technically against the migratory bird laws. You wanna go toe to toe on bird law? Eating a magic mushroom you found in nature. Calm down there, Mario. Downloading games for obsolete consoles from companies which are now non-existent. A new report says 87% of games released before 2010 are no longer commercially available, and it's a huge loss. https://www.google.com/amp/s/amp.theguardian.com/games/2023/jull/12/pushing-buttons-playing-old-video-games. Loitering in a ghost town. The ghosts are sick of you meatbags standing around. Setting up a lemonade stand without a vendor license. Oftentimes the license is $5. They mostly want to warn people about food safety to make sure the stand doesn't end up unwittingly make people sick. Owning more than 6 vibrators in GA. Crossing an empty road on a red light. I'm glad my state actually made this legal for motorcycles in my state, after waiting a reasonable amount of time, but basically so you wouldn't get stuck at lights that wouldn't recognize motorcycles. Pirating cute cat videos off the internet. Someone copyrights cat videos? Hanging out in a public park after hours. Your parks close? Wow. Where do teenagers hang out? Assisting the suicide of a terminally ill person in unrelenting pain, in most jurisdictions in the world. Deleted. Hanging a clothesline, collecting rainwater, or planting a garden in your yard. Some places ban you from doing these things. Everyone is pulling out their rainwater knowledge, but what the heck is wrong with using a clothesline? Refusing to wear a hijab in Iran. Feeding the homeless. How is this a crime? Feeding the homeless? 2 adults mutually agreeing to fight. Alfred killed hiking Torag in fair combat. Picking up a penny on the sidewalk. Believe it or not, it's a crime. It's one of those weird ones where it technically is illegal, in some places, where you're supposed to find the owner of any dropped money by law instead of keeping it, but at such a low value, no law enforcement officer would ever really put resources into it. Plenty of those types of laws, where the idea is good on paper, but the wording is so vague it kinda covers everything. But nobody would care to enforce it at such a small amount. In many nations, homosexuality. Insulting the national flag, coat of arms, national anthem, the Holy Crown in front of a crowd in Hungary results in 1 year of jail. Source: https://buntettajog.info/killinus-rez/btk-334%c2%a7-nemzt-gelkep-megcities/close bracket. Blasphemy. But it does me no injury for my neighbor to say there are 20 gods, or no god. It neither picks my pocket nor breaks my leg. Thomas Jefferson. Consensual buggery. When cops pretend to be kids and get people for solicitation till minor. When I worked at the district attorney's office, we loved these. The shock on these men's face when the 14-year-old girl they spoke to and sent nasty nudes to was our 6'5", 300-pound 50-year-old detective was just amazing. Ha. It's victimless because the victim is imaginary. That's not usually what's meant by victimless crime. Clicking I am 18 years old on an adult website when you're 17. That's mainly to stop the site owners from getting in trouble with the law. Knowingly giving a minor access to pornography is a felony. Giving water to voters in lines in GA. Feeding the homeless in Texas. No victims, but it is a crime. Why is this illegal? I understand that there are health considerations, but what if all necessary precautions and requirements are met? Is it still illegal then? Loitering. It's basically just existing somewhere. Pirating something you already bought in the past but can't find.